I came home after my father's funeral. She was already gone. Left a note. I'm tired of carrying your grief. Her Instagram went private that night, but not before I saw the post, him holding her hand in the mountains we were supposed to visit together. I booked a ticket the next day. Not to follow them, but to find. I was gone for 12 days. That's how long it took for my dad to die and for me to make arrangements, plan the funeral, bury him, and take care of what was left. 12 days. Stephanie didn't come. She said she had too much on her plate with work. Said she would have made it if it was closer. Bozeman's only 3 hours from Missoula, but I didn't argue. I let it go. At the time, I thought I understood. Now I know I was just making excuses for someone who had already checked out. I drove back home that Monday. It was a cold morning. Light snow on the roads, the kind that makes everything look peaceful even when everything inside you is ripped apart. I hadn't slept more than 3 hours a night for over a week. When I got back to the apartment, I didn't expect a celebration. I just expected her. I thought maybe she'd hug me. Maybe she'd have made some coffee. Maybe she would have asked how it went. But the first thing I noticed was the quiet. Like dead quiet.
No te ve.
No music. Her car wasn't out front. I walked in, set down my overnight bag, and headed to the bedroom. Half her stuff was gone. At first, I thought maybe she was doing laundry or reorganizing. But then I saw the open drawers. Her side of the closet empty. Bathroom cabinet cleaned out. That's when I saw the note. A yellow post-it on the fridge door, stuck between a coupon and a dry cleaning reminder. It said, I'm tired of carrying your grief. I can't do this anymore. Don't call.
Just like that.
No love, Steph.
No explanation. Just that.
14 words. I stood there in the kitchen with my coat still on. My father was dead. My girlfriend of 4 years was gone. And I was alone with a fridge full of food I didn't want to eat and a note I didn't ask for. I remember I sat down on the kitchen floor. Not because I was trying to be dramatic. My knees just gave out. Then I got the phone notification. Instagram. Stephanie never posted much. But I clicked on it out of habit. It was a picture. Posted maybe 15 minutes earlier. Her. Smiling. Up in Glacier. In a beanie and hiking boots. And with her. Some guy I'd never seen before.
He was taller than me.
Big build. Tattoo sleeve. He was holding her hand and they were standing in front of Lake McDonald. The same lake Stephanie and I had talked about visiting for our anniversary. The caption said, letting go is hard, but being free is worth it. 10 minutes after I saw it, her account went private. Like she knew I'd see it, and that's all she needed me to see. That night I didn't eat. Didn't sleep. I just kept thinking, how long? When did she decide she was done? Was it while I was holding my dad's hand as he slipped away? Was it when I gave the eulogy? Or was it long before any of that? The next morning I called off work for the week. Bought a one-way ticket to Kalispell. I didn't pack much. Just enough for a few days. I wasn't going there to stop her. Or to fix anything. I was going there to see what kind of man takes a woman away while her boyfriend is burying his father. I told myself it wasn't about revenge. But I think part of me knew. This wasn't just about losing her. It was about finding out what else she took with her when she left. I landed in Kalispell on a Wednesday afternoon. Cold wind. Thin clouds. I rented a car and got a motel room just outside of town. Small place.
No frills.
Just 4 walls, a bed, and Wi-Fi. The kind of place you stay when you don't plan to stay long. I started digging. I still had access to her Venmo. I saw a charge from 2 days ago. Some cabin rental just outside West Glacier. A place called Bear Claw Retreat. I called them. Asked if a Stephanie H. was staying there. The guy on the phone wouldn't give me much, but he didn't hang up either. I knew he recognized the name. So I drove up that way. Didn't see them at first. Just trees and snow and empty trails. Then late Thursday afternoon I saw her. She was walking out of a small coffee place in Columbia Falls. She looked happy. Carefree. She was wearing that green coat I bought her last Christmas. And right behind her was him. He had his arm around her waist like it had always been his. They didn't see me. I stayed across the street, behind a parked pickup. I watched them get in his Jeep and drive off. And that was the first time I felt it rage. Not sadness. Not confusion. Just straight rage. It felt hot and calm at the same time. I wasn't going to confront her. Not yet. I needed to know more first. I needed to find out what kind of man he was. Because maybe, just maybe, this wasn't about love. Maybe it was about something else. And if it was, I was going to make sure they both regretted every lie they told. I stayed in that motel 3 more days. I followed them, but I was careful. I didn't want to be seen yet. I wasn't just mad, I was focused. I kept a journal of where they went, what they did, how long they stayed. Friday night, they went to a bar near Whitefish, a little place called the Elk's Head. I sat in the back corner,
Hoodie on.
hat pulled down low.
They didn't notice me.
She was sitting close to him, her hand on his chest, laughing like she never laughed with me. Like she'd never carried anyone's grief in her life. But here's the twist. Saturday morning, I went back to that cabin rental place, Bear Claw Retreat. I made up some story about planning a honeymoon, trying to get info about their cabin. The woman at the front desk, probably mid-50s, long gray braid, she was polite but guarded. Then I dropped Stephanie's name. Stephanie Holden, I said, like I wasn't sure of her last name. She said it was beautiful out here. The woman looked up.
Paused.
You her brother or something? That hit weird. I didn't answer. She kept looking at me like trying to read if I was trouble. Look, she finally said. We don't get involved in folks' private matters. But I've seen her before. She's been up here the past few winters. Never the same guy twice. That stopped me cold. Winters? I asked. Yeah, she said, still watching me close. Last January, it was some teacher from Spokane. Before that, a guy with a Texas plate. Big ones like him. She nodded toward a picture on the desk of some army-looking guys. She always checks in with them, then checks out alone. Same pattern. I thanked her and walked out. My stomach felt like it dropped into my shoes. I sat in the rental car for a while, just staring at the wheel. This wasn't just cheating. This was routine. I wasn't special. I wasn't even the first. Just the latest in a long list of guys she used to escape whatever she was running from. And that guy, whoever he was, probably thought he was different. Thought she loved him. I needed to know who he was. So I went deeper. That night, I followed them again. They went to a grocery store in town. While she went in alone, I watched him stay behind, smoking by the Jeep. That's when I walked up.
Come.
You army? I asked him, pretending like I just noticed his bumper sticker. He turned, looked at me.
Yeah, was.
Who's asking? I did 2 years active for reserve, I said. I didn't. But he didn't need to know that. He relaxed a little.
Cool, man.
What unit? I waved it off. Bunch of places. You here on leave? He shook his head.
Nah.
Just a getaway. Been rough back home. Before I could ask more, she came out of the store.
She saw me.
And froze. Her face went white. I swear she almost dropped the bag. Mark, she said. The guy looked from her to me. You know this dude? I smiled. We used to date. He turned to her. You told me your ex lived in Texas. She opened her mouth, but nothing came out. That's when I walked off. I didn't need to say more. Not yet. Let her lie her way out of that one. I didn't hear from her that night. No text. No call. No, I'm sorry. She knew she'd been caught. And she knew the look I gave her wasn't sadness. It was warning. The next day, I changed motels. Switched to a place closer to the airport, just in case things turned. I figured maybe he'd confront me, or maybe she would. I didn't expect what actually happened. Monday morning, I was drinking motel coffee and scrolling through local news on my phone. Just killing time. That's when I saw it. A headline buried deep in a local community board. Man wanted in multiple romance scam scene in Glacier region. I clicked. There was a blurry security photo. It was him. Same haircut. Same tattoo. Name listed, Eric Dean Walker. Accused of scamming at least 5 women in 3 states. Not violent, but manipulative. Played the veteran card heavy. Told sob stories, got money, sometimes even cars, then vanished. Sometimes alone. Sometimes with a woman's help. I just stared at it. She didn't find someone new to run off with. She teamed up with a con artist. I read through every word. It started to click. The quick getaway, the sudden trip, the hidden cabins, how smooth he acted when I talked to him. All of it fit. And now I started to wonder if she was more than just his girlfriend. Maybe she was his partner. I sent the article to a friend of mine in Missoula PD, someone I used to play poker with. Asked him to dig up anything on Eric Walker. 10 minutes later, he texted me back. You in Kalispell? Be careful. That guy's wanted in Idaho. Might be more than scams. Might be armed. Now the stakes were different. This wasn't just heartbreak anymore. This wasn't about betrayal and grief. This was something worse. I thought about calling the cops, but something held me back. I needed to be sure. I needed to know what role she was playing in all this. So I made a plan. That night, I waited near the cabin. I parked half a mile up the road, walked through trees in the snow until I could see the place. Their lights were on. I could hear faint music. At midnight, I saw him leave. Alone. Got in the Jeep and drove off. She stayed inside. I waited 15 minutes, then walked right up and knocked. She opened the door in sweatpants and a flannel. Hair tied up.
No makeup.
Just barefaced, and still looking at me like I was a ghost. What do you want? She asked, voice low. I know who he is, I said. And I know what you're doing. She stepped back. You don't know anything. I stepped forward. Then tell me. Tell me you didn't know about the other women. Tell me you're not in on it. She didn't answer. That silence? That was everything. Then she looked over her shoulder, like she was scared someone else was listening. You should leave, Mark. Seriously. You don't know what you're stepping into. I took out my phone and held it up, showed her the article. Her hands started shaking. I didn't know at first, she whispered. He was just someone I met at the gym. Said he was healing from war stuff. Said he needed someone to travel with. I didn't know until Colorado. By then I was already in it. So now what? I asked. You just run scams with him? You leave me during my father's funeral and go off to rip off strangers. She blinked fast, biting her lip. It wasn't supposed to be like that, she said. He said we'd take the money, lay low. Then get out. Start over. Start over where? I said. Next town? Next idiot? She didn't answer. But I saw it: guilt,
Fear.
regret. All rolled into one. That's when headlights came up the road.
Fast.
She turned pale.
He's early, she said.
You need to go.
Now.
But I didn't move. Something told me this night wasn't over. The headlights got closer.
Fast.
Then tires skidded across gravel. The Jeep came to a stop just before the porch. Engine still running. Eric jumped out. He looked pissed. He saw me standing next to her and went straight for me. What the hell is this? He said, stepping up fast, chest puffed out like he was ready to throw down. I told you to stay gone. I didn't move. I kept my voice low. You're a wanted man. You ever think she'd figure it out too? He looked at her, confused. She was frozen, like a kid caught between two parents during a fight. He turned back to me. You don't know what you're talking about. I pulled the phone out again, same article. Held it up to his face. You think I wouldn't find out? He snatched it out of my hand and threw it to the ground. You think I care what some local site says? I took a step forward. You should. Because I sent that to a friend in law enforcement. He's watching this place.
Right now.
He knows you're here. If I don't text him in 5 minutes, you're screwed. That was a lie. But it worked. Eric froze. For the first time, I saw doubt in his face. He looked at her again. This time with something mean in his eyes. You told him, he asked her. She shook her head fast.
No.
I didn't say anything. I swear. He stared at her, and it clicked. He didn't trust her anymore. She knew too much, and I just made her a liability. That's when he pulled the gun. It was fast, tucked into his coat. Small black handgun, just like the cops warned me about. He pointed it at me first. "Call him off," he said. "Call your guy and tell him it's fine." I held my hands up. "I told you. He's watching. You shoot me, they're coming in."
Right now.
He started shaking. Not fear, rage. He turned the gun toward her. "You said you were with me. You said we were a team." Her voice cracked. "I was. But I didn't sign up for this." That's when I did something I didn't plan. I lunged. Not toward him. Toward her. Pulled her down just as he fired. The shot cracked past my ear. Hit the wall behind us. She screamed. I tackled her to the ground. He fired again, missed. Then ran. Out the door. Back to the Jeep. Tires peeled out. Snow sprayed up. And just like that, he was gone. I stood up. My ears were ringing. My heart felt like it was trying to break out of my chest. She was still on the floor, shaking. I looked down at her. "This what freedom looks like to you?"
She cried.
Not just tears, real sobbing. Ugly.
Panicked.
I stepped outside and called 911. Told them who he was, where he went, gave them the Jeep make and plate for memory. Turns out he didn't get far. They caught him 20 miles south, near Big Fork, trying to ditch the car in the woods. He had stolen IDs, cards, and over $40,000 in cash from different accounts. They charged him with federal wire fraud, identity theft, firearm possession as a felon, and attempted murder. He won't be out for a long time. As for her, she cooperated with the police, turned over texts, helped connect the dots to victims in 3 states. But she didn't walk away clean. She'd helped him scam 2 of those women. She had access to accounts. Signed fake names. She tried to play innocent, but the paper trail said otherwise. She took a plea deal. 5 years, with parole after 2. She's in a prison downstate now. The funny thing? She wrote me from there. Sent a letter. Said she was sorry. Said she lost herself. Said she missed the version of me who used to cook breakfast on Saturdays. I never wrote back. I moved out of Missoula. Too many memories. Got a job in Spokane. Small apartment. Quiet life. I don't date much. I don't trust fast anymore. But I did one last thing before I left. There was this fundraiser being run by one of the women he scammed, a school teacher in Boise. She lost her savings. He took her retirement fund and promised to marry her. I anonymously sent her $5,000. Not because I wanted to fix what he did. I just needed to do one honest thing in a story full of lies. And maybe, just maybe, that was the final nail in all of it. I lost my dad. I lost the woman I thought I'd marry. But I walked through fire and didn't come out burned. Not all the way anyway. Some of us carry grief. Some run from it.
Me?
I turned it into a map. And I made sure every name on that road paid the price. I'm Mark. I'm 38. I lived in Missoula, Montana for most of my life. 2 months ago, everything in my life split into before and after. Before I lost my dad.
Before she left.
Before I found out the truth. I was close with my dad. After my mom passed 5 years ago, it was just him and me. We had our issues, like all families do, but we stuck by each other. So when he got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer last fall, I did what I thought any decent son would do. I took time off work and drove down to Bozeman to help take care of him. I figured it'd be a few weeks. It turned into months. Stephanie, my girlfriend of 4 years, said she understood. She said, "Family comes first. I'll hold things down here." I believed her. I didn't question it. She still texted, still called, but less and less. I chalked it up to life being busy. Dad passed on a Saturday morning. I was holding his hand when he stopped breathing.
Just me and a nurse in the room. Quiet. Cold.
I called Stephanie right after. She didn't pick up. She texted back 2 hours later. "I'm sorry. I'm in a meeting. Call you tonight." She never did. I stayed 3 more days to plan the funeral. My aunt helped. I asked Steph again if she was coming. She said, "I wish I could, but work's tight." That didn't sit right. But I let it go. The funeral was small. Mostly family, a few of Dad's old coworkers. I gave the eulogy. After, I stayed behind while everyone else left. I just sat there next to the casket, talking to him like he was still there. The next morning, I packed my stuff and drove back to Missoula. It was cold, mid-January. I was still in my black funeral suit. I didn't want to change. I didn't want to do anything really. When I got to the apartment, I noticed her car wasn't outside. Maybe she was at work. I went inside. The lights were off. It was dead quiet. Then I saw it. Half the bedroom closet was empty. Her shoes were gone. Bathroom cabinet cleared. And a yellow post-it on the fridge that read, "I'm tired of carrying your grief. I can't do this anymore. Don't call." No goodbye. No apology. Just that. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I just stood there for a long time. My hands were still on my duffel bag. I hadn't even taken my coat off. Then my phone buzzed. Instagram notification. Steph never posted much. She'd gone private months ago, but I was still following her. I tapped it. It was a picture. Her in a beanie, up in the mountains. Smiling. Holding hands with some guy. Bigger than me, military haircut, flannel jacket. His arm around her shoulders like he owned her. The caption said, "Letting go was hard, but freedom is worth it." I just stared at it. Then her profile went private.
She wanted me to see that.
She wanted it to sting. And it did. Next morning, I called off work. I didn't explain much. Just said I needed time. Then I booked a one-way flight to Kalispell. I didn't know what I was going to do when I got there. I just knew I needed to understand what the hell was going on. I wasn't going to win her back. This wasn't a rom-com. I wanted the truth. I wanted to look this guy in the eye and see what kind of man steps in while someone's burying their dad. I rented a car when I landed and checked into a small motel just outside Columbia Falls. I kept my head down and started watching. I still had access to her Venmo. One of her recent payments said Bear Claw Retreat, week rental. That was a cabin resort about 15 minutes away from where I was staying. I drove out there.
Didn't see them the first day.
Or the second. On the third day, I saw them come out of a small coffee shop downtown. She looked relaxed.
Happy.
He had his hand in her back pocket. They didn't see me. I watched them get in a Jeep with Montana plates and drive off. That night, I went back to the cabin rental. Said I was planning a honeymoon, asked if they had availability. The woman at the front desk was cautious, maybe in her 50s. She smiled but didn't offer much until I casually mentioned Stephanie's name. She hesitated, then asked, "You her brother?" I didn't answer, just shrugged. "She's been coming up here every winter," the woman said slowly. "Never the same guy twice." I thanked her and left. So that was it. She wasn't some heartbroken girlfriend who found comfort with someone new. She'd done this before. Multiple times. I wasn't the exception. I was just the latest in her pattern. I followed them for a few more days. One night I sat at the bar they were drinking at. I kept to myself, hood up, watching. She never looked in my direction. He didn't either. Next morning, I saw a post on a local news site. Headline buried on a community page. "Man wanted for romance scams spotted near Glacier." I opened it. There he was.
Same guy.
Name: Eric Dean Walker. Wanted in multiple states. Used the veteran story to lure women in, then scammed them out of money, cars, even houses. I sent the article to a cop friend back in Missoula. Told him, "I thought I found this guy." 10 minutes later, he replied, "Be careful. This guy is not just a smooth talker. Might be armed." I made a decision. I had to talk to her. Face to face. So that night I waited. Parked near the cabin. Around midnight, he left. Alone. I waited 15 minutes, then knocked on the door. She opened it. Her face fell when she saw me. "What do you want?" "I know who he is," I said. Her shoulders dropped. "You don't understand. I know he's a con. I know you've done this before. I just want the truth." She let me in. We sat down at the table. She admitted everything. She met him at a gym in Missoula. Didn't know he was a scammer at first, but when she found out, she stayed. Said she liked the rush. Said she felt alive again.
Said I was too sad, all the time.
I asked her if she ever loved me. She didn't answer. Then headlights pulled up outside.
Fast.
She looked at me, terrified. "He's back early," she whispered. And just like that, everything changed. I stood up from the table. My back was to the door. I could feel her panic rising like heat in the room. "Does he know I'm here?" I asked. She shook her head.
No.
"He doesn't know anything." I walked to the window and peered through the curtain. The Jeep was parked at an angle, lights still on. He hadn't turned the engine off. He usually killed it when he planned to stay long. This was different.
Quick.
Then the door swung open. Eric stepped in like he owned the place, snow still on his boots. His face was sharp, jaw clenched. He stopped cold when he saw me standing in his cabin. "What the F?" He didn't finish. I turned toward him slow. "Evening." He looked at her. Then back to me. "What's this?" She stepped between us. "He just showed up." I didn't. He raised his hand to shut her up. I asked him. I didn't flinch. "I know who you are, Eric. And so do the cops." His eyes narrowed. "You think you're a hero, huh?" "No," I said. "I think you're a thief with a cheap act. And I think she's just tired." He stepped toward me. "You should leave." "You should run," I said. His eyes flicked to her again. Then to my hand. My phone was in it. I raised it up. "Everything you've said in this cabin is on a live call. My friend's on the other end. He's law enforcement. If this line goes dead, they come here. Fast." He didn't believe me at first. Then I saw it in his face, doubt. He looked at her again. This time, really looked. "You told him?" he asked her, voice shaking. She started crying. "I didn't mean to. I didn't think he'd follow me. I didn't think," he exploded. "You think you're smart?" His fist flew toward the coffee table. Glass shattered everywhere. I didn't move. I wanted him to swing at me, give me the excuse. But he didn't. He pulled something from his coat.
Gun.
I froze. She screamed and dropped to the floor. "I'm not going down like this," he growled. "I'll take both of you out." I stood still. "Cops are watching, Eric." "Liar," he hissed. I took a slow step forward. "Shoot me, and my friend sends everything. Your name, your face, your GPS." The gun wavered. Then headlights filled the window behind him. Red and blue. Sirens. He turned fast toward the window, too fast. I rushed him. I grabbed his wrist as the door flew open behind me and cops poured in, guns drawn, yelling. He dropped the weapon when I slammed his arm against the wall. They tackled him, screamed at him to stay down, cuffed him right there in front of the fireplace. I backed off, hands in the air, breathing hard. Stephanie was still on the floor, crying. One of the officers, a state trooper, recognized me from the call. Asked if I was okay. I nodded. Eric was yelling all the way out the door. About setups. About betrayal. About how we ruined everything. That was the night it ended. Or at least the worst of it. Turns out Eric had warrants in Idaho, Utah, and Colorado. He used fake names, stole identities, scammed women out of money, cars, and personal info. Stephanie had helped, knowingly. She tried to claim she was a victim, but they traced wire transfers back to her account. Thousands of dollars. They offered her a deal if she cooperated fully. She took it. 2 years in prison. Maybe more if she slipped. Eric?
He's gone for a long time.
The feds took over his case. Fraud, weapons, identity theft, attempted murder. The whole list. I flew home the next morning.
Tired. Numb.
Hollow. I quit my job. Moved to Spokane a few weeks later. Started from scratch. Small apartment. Remote work. Quiet life. She wrote me from prison once. Said she was sorry. I burned the letter. 6 months went by. Life was quiet in Spokane. Too quiet sometimes. I had nightmares for a while. Not about the gun or the fight. But about the moment I realized I never really knew the woman I was going to marry. That haunted me more than anything else. I didn't talk to anyone about what happened. Not my coworkers, not my old friends back in Missoula. I told my boss I needed space and kept my head down. I worked. I ate. I slept. And I waited. I wasn't done. Not yet. Because something was still off. When I looked at Stephanie's court documents, public records, I saw her charges. But what stood out to me wasn't what was listed. It was what wasn't. There was no charge for what she did to me. Leaving while I buried my father? That wasn't a crime. Lying to me, stealing my time, using me to look like a normal girlfriend while she helped a con artist? Also not illegal. But it still felt like something that needed to be answered. So, I made a plan. I knew she had a parole hearing coming up in 9 months. Her lawyer had filed for early release, claiming she was a first-time offender, cooperative, nonviolent, and had family support. I decided to become her family again just long enough. I wrote a letter. Simple, careful. Said I was healing. That I missed who she used to be. That maybe one day we could talk. I told her I forgave her. I sent it. No return address. 2 weeks later, she wrote back. Her tone had changed. She talked about how prison was clarifying. How she now saw who Eric really was. How she was manipulated. She asked me to testify on her behalf at her parole hearing. Not directly, but she was hinting at it. She said a letter from me could help. I waited another month. Then I sent her one more letter.
Said I was thinking about it.
Said I just wanted her to come clean. And she did. She confessed everything in that letter. How she helped Eric get access to the women. How she picked some of them out through his fake veteran support groups. How she pretended to be a survivor too. How she watched them cry after they got scammed and said nothing. She said she was just trying to feel in control. She signed the letter. Dated it. I took that letter straight to the state parole board. Mailed it certified. Attached a summary of the case, news clippings, and a personal statement. I didn't ask them to keep her locked up forever. I just laid out the truth. The version she didn't show in court. The version she only gave to me, thinking I still cared. Her parole was denied. Flat out. She wrote one last time after that. This time, she wasn't calm. She was angry. Said I lied. Said I used her. Said I pretended to forgive her.
She was right.
I did. And for once, I didn't feel bad about it. You don't get to play victim after choosing to be the villain. I'm not proud of everything. I probably could have walked away and started fresh. But after everything she took from me, my time, my peace, my trust, I needed something real. Something final. Eric's still in federal lockup. Last I heard, one of the women he scammed is suing him for damages. And he's not fighting it because he knows she kept records. Emails. Photos. Bank transfers. All of it. That woman? She's the one I sent $5,000 to anonymously.
She'll never know it was me.
That was never the point. The point was, if someone had stopped Stephanie sooner, if someone had made Eric pay earlier, maybe none of this would have happened. Now they've both paid. As for me, I'm not angry anymore. Not really. I live alone. I go hiking on weekends. I started writing again, just small stuff. Journaling mostly. Every now and then, I think about what Stephanie wrote in that first letter. I'm tired of carrying your grief. I don't think she ever carried it. She just borrowed it long enough to justify what she was already planning to do. Now, I carry hers. But it's lighter than mine ever was. And I carry it on my own terms.